we've borrowed this morning, which should belong to no one, without even signing a contract. Breath is not our property, but a loan with an expiration date. Even happiness is nothing more than an item whose return date remains a secret. Perhaps, then, humans aren't actually experiencing life. They're merely making temporary use of it. A name is nothing more than a reference number on a return slip. Personality is a size chart of ethics that we try on in a fitting room provided by the lender, known as the Times. People walking through the streets look as if they own themselves, yet only their shadows know the truth. The word I is the only second-hand item masquerading as brand new. The self is not an original creation, but a collection of quotations. Even so, humans insist on calling only the moment when the quotation marks are removed their true feelings. But if the very concept of true feelings is the most frequently checked out illusion in the vast lending library that is society, then time does not charge rent. Instead, it gradually reclaims existence itself as collateral. Yesterday was not lost, it was returned. Tomorrow will not arrive, it will simply be lent out anew. People do not age. The term of the contract is merely becoming visible on the page, that is the body. It is the moment when the fact that ownership never existed in the first place is quietly revealed. Therefore, the way of life is not self-realization, but an ethics reduced to aesthetics alone. How beautifully one can wear out a borrowed existence. And today, too, the world is lending out countless eyes. Not a single one has the same contract terms, and not a single one has read the full text of the contract. That is why a portrait is not a face. It is the outline of an unpossessable light, emitted only by an existence on the verge of being returned. What someone once owned, I inherit secondhand, wear down through use, and then return to the next person in a degraded state, where then is the original. Even if I trace the starting point of this chain of borrowing, all I find is the simple fact that it was borrowed from the very beginning. Existence is not born. It is the most viscous metaphor that time has borrowed to visualize itself. Bones are punctuation, marks written by gravity. Blood is a red correction, marks sent back from the future. And nerves are irreversible measuring organs woven by the law of causality to gauge its own delay. The world passes through me using my outline as a borrowed backdrop, the negative image of existence, exposed only when light momentarily abandons the concept of ownership. I am not living my own life. The phenomenon of I is nothing more than a browsing history generated by temporarily borrowing the vast void that is existence. The viewer is in turn being viewed. Observation is not a one-way process. It is a cyclical accident in which presence and absence continue to mistake each other for mirror images. Time does not flow. The very perception that it is flowing is the momentum of illusion that time has leased to the observer. The past does not vanish, the future does not arrive, nor does only the present exist. These are all multiple aliases distributed by the same non-time, each disguised as a different due date. Death is not an endpoint. It is neither a return, nor a retrieval, nor a loss. It is the restoration of anonymity, which belonged to no one from the start, revealed only at the moment the illusion of ownership abandons its own proof of existence. Therefore, in the universe, there are neither the living nor the dead. All that exists is consciousness that continues to lend and borrow from one another. And even that consciousness is borrowed from an even deeper, invisible consciousness. The portrait that remains in the end is not a face. It is neither a silhouette, nor a memory, nor a name. Only the fact that it was borrowed, which remains even after all returns have been completed, continues to frame its own absence. Humanity will forever misread the interior of that frame as the self, the exhaustion of the ontological dative, or the genealogy of existence without possessive case the pronoun. I is an empty algebraic variable that repeats only its referential function without a referent. The law of identity, x equals x, has already collapsed here. For the value to be substituted is itself nothing more than a borrowed indeterminate, that is, a free variable that cannot be determined by any evaluation function. None of us has any memory of having approved a credit limit, yet we awaken already burdened with the debt of existence. In other words, the self has no direct path to itself and barely takes shape only as the limit of an infinite number of borrowed perspectives. Yet that limit does not converge, constantly diverging within the metric space of the self and inhabiting an incomplete space. This body contains no true center point, no matter which neighborhood one considers.